Above Earth's serene blue skies lies a hidden war zone, an invisible battlefield where satellites orbit silently, transmitting vital data that keeps modern life and modern warfare functioning. GPS, communication, surveillance, intelligence, weather prediction, navigation, early warning systems, all of it flows through space. And China wants the power to pull the plug on it. Over the past decade, Beijing has rapidly developed an arsenal of anti-satellite, ASAT, weapons designed not just to threaten its regional rivals, but to challenge NATO's technological dominance in space. For NATO's military planners, this shift has triggered a deep, urgent fear that China now holds the power to blind and cripple the alliance before a shot is ever fired on Earth. Before we dive deep into the heart of this orbital arms race, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss vital intelligence on the evolving threats shaping tomorrow's conflicts. The strategic power of satellites. In the 21st century, war is no longer fought just on land, sea, or in the air. It's fought in data, and satellites are the lifeblood of that data. Every NATO operation, from troop deployment to precision strikes, depends on access to orbital systems. Surveillance satellites provide real-time imagery and enemy troop movements. Navigation satellites like GPS guide everything from stealth bombers to unmanned drones. Communication satellites connect NATO command centers across continents. Early warning satellites detect ballistic missile launches. And space-based intelligence networks offer global insight within seconds. In other words, space is NATO's eyes, ears, and nervous system. Without it, the entire alliance could go blind, deaf, and paralyzed, rendered ineffective in the face of a sophisticated adversary. And that's precisely why NATO fears China's growing ability to target and destroy that infrastructure. China's ASAT arsenal, more than just missiles. China's anti-satellite program has evolved at alarming speed. What once began with crude ballistic missiles has transformed into a sophisticated portfolio of orbital and ground-based weapons that threaten satellites across multiple orbits. Beijing's 2007 ASAT test shocked the world. In that demonstration, China destroyed one of its own weather satellites in low Earth orbit using a kinetic kill vehicle, a missile that hit its target head-on. The explosion created thousands of pieces of dangerous debris, drawing global condemnation. But for China, it was a milestone, proof that it could physically eliminate enemy space assets. Since then, China has expanded its toolkit. The People's Liberation Army, PLA, now fields direct-ascent missiles that can be launched from Earth to strike satellites in low and possibly even medium orbits. These weapons are fast, lethal, and relatively cheap, but they're just the beginning. Even more worrying for NATO is China's development of co-orbital ASAT systems. These are satellites launched into orbit that can maneuver close to foreign satellites, using robotic arms, lasers, or electromagnetic pulses to disable or destroy them without an explosion. These space stalkers can wait undetected until activated. China is also experimenting with blinding lasers, signal jammers, cyber weapons, and microwave emitters, non-kinetic options that can silently sabotage NATO satellites without leaving fingerprints. It's not just about brute force. It's about options. And China now has many. NATO's dependency on space-based operations. NATO was built around coordination. The alliance consists of 31 member nations with different languages, cultures, command structures, and technologies. The one thing that unites them all in combat is satellite integration. When NATO jets fly in formation over Eastern Europe or the Mediterranean, they rely on encrypted satellite links. When special forces launch a raid deep in hostile territory, they depend on GPS and space-based surveillance. When cyber defenses are coordinated between multiple countries, it's satellites that synchronize their systems. In modern warfighting, a single failed satellite can disrupt targeting data, scramble communications, or sever command authority. A coordinated strike on several key NATO satellites could delay response times, fragment battlefield awareness, and even prevent collective action, paralyzing the alliance before it mobilizes. That vulnerability, long theoretical, now feels dangerously real as China's space weapons mature. A geopolitical wake-up call. China's ASAT capabilities are not just tools of war. They are instruments of deterrence and intimidation. NATO sees them as part of a broader strategy to coerce, disrupt, and deter Western intervention in regions Beijing deems vital. particularly Taiwan, the South China Sea, and beyond. Imagine this scenario. Before launching a major regional operation, China disables several NATO surveillance and communication satellites over Asia and the Pacific. No blood has been spilled, no soldiers attacked. But NATO's forces are blind, its sensors muted, its response delayed. In that moment of confusion, China gains a tactical and psychological edge. This is not science fiction. It's a plausible scenario, and it's one NATO is racing to prevent. The alliance has begun wargaming such space warfare scenarios in recent years, and the outcome is often the same. If you lose the sky, you lose the fight. The problem of attribution and escalation. One of the most terrifying aspects of space conflict is attribution. If a satellite fails, is it a malfunction or a deliberate attack? Did a solar flare hit it, or did a Chinese cyber unit hijack it? Was that laser strike from a rogue nation or a false flag? In space, there are no borders, no front lines, and often no immediate proof of aggression. That makes it incredibly difficult for NATO to respond quickly or decisively to a Chinese ASAT attack. This uncertainty leads to hesitation, and in warfare, hesitation kills. Worse still, misattribution could lead to overreaction. A false assumption about the source of an attack could trigger a full-scale escalation, drawing NATO into a conflict with global consequences. China understands this ambiguity and may exploit it. In a world of orbital warfare, the first mover often wins, and the world may never even know who fired the first shot. China's civil-military fusion strategy. One of NATO's biggest concerns is China's policy of civil-military fusion, the seamless integration of civilian technology into military development. China's space agency, CNSA, and its military arm, the Strategic Support Force, work hand in glove with universities, commercial firms, and tech startups. This fusion allows China to mass military space assets as civilian research satellites. A robotic satellite built for repairing or refueling missions could just as easily be used to damage a NATO surveillance satellite. And because international space law remains vague and unenforced, such dual-use technology operates in a legal gray zone. The result? NATO has to monitor hundreds of Chinese launches and orbital maneuvers without knowing which are peaceful and which are predatory. This environment of constant suspicion and surveillance is not sustainable. It creates space paranoia, a dangerous condition where one side assumes the worst of the other and arms accordingly. If you found this deep dive urgent and insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more on the unseen wars shaping our world from orbit to ground zero. Drop a comment below